We think of child prodigies as these amazing gifts, but what if that gift is also a curse?
I mean, we're totally obsessed with them, right? It's like they're operating on a different plane.
So let's look past the big show and see the brutal reality that made it happen. First off, a prodigy isn't just a super smart kid. Their brain is just different.
Seriously, this means performing like a pro before they're even 10 years old. It's wild.
So forget a high IQ. This is about a brain wired for total obsessive focus on one thing.
So what's driving this? It's way more than a hobby. Psychologists actually have a name for it.
It's called the rage to master, a deep, compulsive need to just figure something out.
They don't just learn something, they have to take it apart, see how it works, and own it.
And how do they do it? Their brains are like sponges, soaking up info at an insane speed.
But, okay, this laser focus, it comes at a huge cost, and this is where it gets tough.
They might be a cello master at 7, but totally lost when it comes to basic social stuff.
So while other kids are learning to get along, the prodigy is alone, lost in their craft.
And we're talking up to 8 hours a day? That's a full-time job for a little kid.
Let's be real, this is a total sacrifice of what we'd call a normal childhood.
And that sacrifice brings us to the core paradox of being a prodigy. It's kind of tricky.
You see, the very thing that makes them special also traps them on one single, lonely path.
So you've got this incredible skill, but a smaller world. It's a path that's both amazing and scary.
Are they just born that way? Or is it from some kind of crazy, inhuman training?
Turns out, it's a wild fusion of both. A special spark meeting some really intense pressure.
The engine here isn't external. It's this powerful internal drive called the rage to master.
And that's the key. For them, it's not work at all. It's a form of obsessive play. Inside their head, their talent is this whole other universe that just makes perfect sense to them.
And everything else, school, friends, normal kid stuff, it can all feel kind of gray and boring.
But this drive almost always meets an outside force that organizes it and really ramps it up.
You've probably heard of the 10,000-hour rule for mastering something, right?
Well, these kids often hit that number before they're even teenagers. Think about that.
It's like their brain gets shaped like a bonsai tree, beautiful, but forced in one specific direction.
This means a huge amount of the brain's resources get funneled into just that one skill. The result is a mind that's a masterpiece of efficiency, but only inside its own little world.
This leads to something called asynchronous development, and it's key to the whole prodigy paradox.
So you get this crazy contrast, superhuman skill on one side and deep immaturity on the other. Intellectually and technically, they're an adult, but emotionally and socially, they're still a child.
You can imagine how this creates what's been called a strange and lonely landscape in their mind.
It's this unbelievable hybrid of superhuman talent and a very real human immaturity. We see child prodigies as these amazing marvels, right? But there's a really lonely side to their story. And this quote, it just perfectly captures the isolation they feel, stuck between two different worlds.
So, first up is the world of other kids. To them, the prodigy is, well, pretty much an alien.
Their day-to-day lives are just completely different, making it almost impossible to truly connect as friends.
It's like they're just tourists, looking in on their own childhood but never really getting to join in.
Okay, so what about their second world, the world of adults? Surely they fit in there, right?
Nope. Adults respect their skill, for sure, but they can't relate to them as equals. They're still a kid. It's like a small child is operating a massive, powerful machine. You only see the machine, not the kid inside.
So you see the pattern. To kids, they're an alien. To adults, a novelty. Always on the outside.
This leaves them totally stranded in what you could call a social no man's land.
So you have to wonder, what does that constant loneliness do to someone who's still growing up?
Well, it often pushes them to one of two extremes, and neither one is great for making friends.
Beyond just social awkwardness, though, there's a much deeper problem. It's about who they are.
See, here's the thing. They're not seen as a person who is a genius. They simply are the genius.
And building your whole identity on that one thing, that is an incredibly fragile way to exist.
We all know the stereotype, right? That powerful, driving stage parent.
But the reality is way more complicated. A whole web of love, sacrifice, and psychology.
So this explainer unpacks that very question by looking at the two paths a parent can take.
It all really starts with a choice between two fundamentally different roles.
What's wild is how one can just
sort of transform into the other.
And that journey from facilitator to director, it often happens without them even knowing.
You can see how this creates a psychological trap for both the parent and the child. So, there's this really powerful psychological mechanism that fuels this whole shift.
It's a concept known as narcissistic extension.
This is where the child's identity starts to get completely absorbed by the parents.
Suddenly, a missed note or a lost match isn't just a learning moment anymore. For the parent, it becomes what's called a deep narcissistic injury.
And this, of course, turns the child's entire world into a high-stakes performance.
That natural desire to master something, it gets buried under this intense pressure to please.
And that's the key here. Their whole motivation for being great gets rewired.
So really, the dream itself has been transferred from the child to the parent.
So what does happen when the wonderkin grows up and the spotlight just fades away? For many of them, growing up isn't a celebration. It's actually a pretty brutal experience.
It's that moment the magic dies. All that special status, it just vanishes.
And this kicks off a huge identity crisis. See, their specialness was tied to being young.
I mean, look at this contrast. At 10, you're a global sensation. At 20,
That amazing violinist is now just one more talented face in a very competitive room.
When that public adoration is gone, it can feel like a huge personal failure. The fallout is severe. We're talking intense depression, burnout, rebellion, you name it. Because they were raised on such a narrow track, they're often not ready for normal adult life.
Some even abandon their talent entirely. It's like a desperate act of self-preservation.
And this is the key. They're trying to kill the prodigy just to save the person.
their amazing gift turns into a hated symbol of everything they feel they've lost.
So they're haunted by this echo of applause that just isn't there anymore.
Imagine feeling like your greatest achievement in life is already in your past.
From here, their paths split. Some are scarred for life, while others find a new balance.
The lucky ones, they learn to do it for the love of it, not for anyone's approval.
So maybe their greatest performance isn't on stage, but in the struggle to build a new self.